back on another video, and this video is basically based on my entry criteria. My entry criteria number one is a 1 minute EMA break. That's a must. That's a must see before I can make an execution. Is the 1 minute EMA break. And then condition number two is an opposing hand, either on the 15-minute time frame, 5-minute, or the 1 minute. Either of those three time frames, an opposing hand. And then lastly, number three is time and price confluence. That is the midnight open candlestick. You know how you do it. And then the New York candlestick. So at this particular point, I had seen like, okay, number one, we are reacting from a key zone of supply at this point, okay, and then I had seen that price had broken below the 21 EMA in the 1 hour time frame. That signifies some sell pressure coming in. At this particular point, I wanted to move to the 5-minute time frame for my breakout entry, but checking onto the 15 minutes for the scope hunt, I managed to see a nice opposing hunt at this particular point, meaning those who are triggered into going long here, I managed to see a nice opposing hunt, and my target was to at least attack these. My target was, after the opposing hunt has happened, let me show you. So once the opposing hunt had happened here, my idea was we are going to attack these lows. So this was my target, okay. So what I needed to do is to find an entry at this point. Condition number one has been met, in that we have an opposing hunt in between my expected time zone, which is M5, M15, or M1. That's condition number one. My condition number two, which is the 1 minute candlestick break. So I had to go to the M1 very fast. I'm going on to the minute one. You can see that we were trading below. At first we were trading below, so I didn't want to sell here, because the expected price will push back up to retest this hunt zone here. So I wasn't selling here because that would avoid my stop. So what I did is I waited for price to come back to this zone here, and it retested that block that was broken. After it retested, we can see that clearly we are having now the break coming in, confirming our condition number two. Yeah, you can see we had a nice breakout even from this trend line and from the EMA. So what I did is, after that, I took my sell position. You see, once this candle formed, this was the hunt candlestick in the M1. It's an opposing hunt in the M1. This criteria happens multiple number of times. So once it happens that way, I took my sell position around this point. So I'm going to mark it here as the nini, as it was forming around that point. That was my sell position. I kept on adding more positions, and then my stop loss was up around this point, okay. So if I measure the pip count from my entry point to my stop loss, that's around it was 6 pips to my stop. That was a fair stop loss. And then that's the only point where I could get nullified, because you had a break and you should be selling. So from that, my entry point, my target would have been first TP would have been this low here as expected, and then we hold the rest for the other TPs. Let's say the other TP would have been around this point here, around this, let's say around this point. That's our second take profit. And then, or here, that's our second take profit, and then our third take profit will have been this low. Okay, so our first take profit has been hit. So what are we doing? what are we doing? We have moved our stop loss to break even. So at this point, let me calculate the pips made from my entry point. We have my entry point to this low, that was around 16 pips. A nice 1:3. If I could hold to at least 18 pips, I would have gotten a nice 1:3, meaning if I had risked 500 Kenya shillings on that trade, I would have made 1500 Kenyan shillings, which is a good amount of money considering the trade taken. So that will be my number one trade on Gbp USD, and if I keep holding, I will need to see price maybe pushing back a little bit and then continuing to push to the downside. Remember, we still have this gap up here which may attract price back to the upside, so you need to be very careful with Gbp USD. Yeah,